and you haven't seen the latest polls, the American people hold the President of the United States in contempt. They hold this institution in contempt. They hold the Republican Party in contempt. They hold the Democratic Party in contempt. They think that maybe, given all of the crises facing this country, it's about time that there was some bold leadership here and that this institution made some hard choices. And this is what the choice is about. We are spending $270 billion a year on the military, but we don't have a major enemy. I know it hurts your feelings. I know you're upset about it. I know you're hoping and praying that maybe we'll have another war. Maybe somebody will rise up. But it ain't happening. The Soviet Union doesn't exist. The Warsaw Pact is through. Who you worried about? Iraq? Panama? Who you worried about? I'll tell you who I'm worried about. I'm worried about the fact that our workers are seeing a decline in their standard of living. They want to see our industry be rebuilt. That's what they want to see. No more B-2 bombers, no more Star Wars. Let's make the quality products we need. Let's invest in American industry. No, I won't yield. The American people want to see our kids educated. They want a Head Start program. They want their kids to be able to go to college. They want to wipe out the fact that 5 million children in this country go to bed hungry. They want child care for their kids. They want decent education. Let's have the guts to give some leadership to this country. The Cold War's over. Let's reinvest in America. Let's support this amendment.
I have a dream. My 4 little children one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
Right to vote. What your country can do for you and what you can.
As we mourn the loss of thousands of our citizens, I can hear you.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime.
You are fighting for a government that represents all of us and not just the 1%.
We are one people, all of us pledging allegiance to the Stars and Stripes, all of us defending the United States of America.
Catastrophe. Somebody understands the vicious legacies of white supremacy and male supremacy, losing sight of the humanity of Mexicans and Muslims and Arabs and Jews and indigenous peoples, but also poor, white, working class brothers and sisters too. All of us are in it together, from indigenous to white. We're all in it together. Oh, yes, we are.
I remember some of the moments that I felt really dejected about politics, the extension of the Bush tax cuts in 2010, and seeing that the same people were financing all campaigns. And I was like, what is even the difference of a Democrat and a Republican?
That was the depressing part, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so I, like a lot of working people, felt that cynicism, and I understood it very deeply. 2016 represented a re-engagement. That's when I started tuning in more to activism and really getting to the core of these issues. I remember that evening on Election Day in November. I was really disappointed and really sad, but I was not shocked. I wanted to go back to what you said about our left party. We don't have a left party in the United States. The Democratic Party is not a left party. The Democratic Party is a center or center conservative party. We do not advocate for, we can't even get a floor vote on Medicare for all. Not even a floor vote that gets voted down. We can't even get a vote on it. So this is not a left party. There are left members inside the Democratic Party that are working to try to make that shift happen. But you're right, it does convey a certain sentiment about true believers. And there are a lot of true believers that we can capitalism our way out of poverty in the Democratic Party. If anything, that's probably the majority.
Right.
And that's an area in which I agree with Dr. King, that assessment is flawed.
She is the one and the only, my dear sister, AOC.
Today. One of the things that makes this campaign different is that we know that we can't go back to the way things were before. Because the way things were before is how we got to where we are now. We cannot go back to a world where the rich are put first and working people are put last in Washington day in and day out. These last few weeks in Congress, we've been passing appropriations budget after budget. And one of those budgets was the defense budget. And what we're seeing and what we just passed was a budget that was $120 billion more than Obama's budget leaving in his last year in office. $120 billion more. Now, I think it's really critical that we think about this for a second, because not once was I or anyone I know asked whose taxes are gonna go up to pay for that. Not once was I asked, are we going to tax the rich or tax the middle class? Not once. This is not just some kind of campaign line. This is reality. We only talk about raising taxes when it comes to taking care of our kids and saving our planet and establishing health care. It is an ultimate hypocrisy. So I'm here to say and to tell you, when someone asks you, how are we going to pay for it? The question is not that. The question is not, how are we going to pay for it? The question is, how do we want to pay for it? A just society, a loving society, is one that guarantees health care to all people.
people. A loving society, an advanced society, an anti-racist society. It's a society that guarantees education of equal quality and merit to all people. And not just the education of a century ago, an education for the century to come. And that means tuition-free public colleges and trade schools in the United States of America. A loving society embraces immigrants and realizes that we cannot do this without each and every one of us linking arms together. To do whatever you can for this, because this is what revolution looks like. And by the way, for anyone who accuses us for instituting purity tests, it's called having values. It's called giving a damn. It's called having standards for your conduct, to not be funded by billionaires, but to be funded by the people, which is different. And I can tell you, as a member of Congress, when people say that there is no difference between being funded by a handful of wealthy people and being funded by small grassroots donations, let me tell you something. I go into work all the time, and I hear people say, "What will my donors think?" I hear that phrase. And I hear and I see that billionaires get members of Congress on speed dial and waitresses don't. Okay? There's a difference. And a candidate that is accountable to small dollar donors is fundamentally differently aligned than anybody else. So with that, I want to introduce to you Senator Bernie Sanders.
If I could find a way to see this straight, I'd run away to